14 inches wide by 8 inches tall. The dimensions of a tray slot in a jail cell door. And I'm sure when designed and constructed, nobody ever thought that this would be big enough for a prisoner to attempt to escape through. Well, folks, the story I'm getting ready to share with you proves otherwise and can be added to the long list of attempted escapes that have been taking place this escape season, and certainly has to be one of the craziest escape attempts I've ever heard about. Sac County Jail in Sac City, Iowa. Authorities are reporting 3 people were assaulted while an inmate at the Sac County, Iowa jail tried to escape. The Sac County Sheriff's Office says on Wednesday, June 4th, 36-year-old Artis Karazins was being held in the county jail for leaving the scene of an accident and several criminal mischief charges. First to note is this guy wasn't even incarcerated for anything all that serious. But I'm sure these latest escape attempt charges he's adding to that resume could potentially add a few years to any potential time this guy may have been facing. At around 3 p.m. on Wednesday, the sheriff's office say jail staff opened the food pass-through door to hand Karazins some paperwork. During this, Karazins reportedly grabbed the staff member's arm and pulled her into the cell door. Security video shows Karazins eventually releasing the staff member's arm, who reported bruising on her forearm. Well, that there is already assault on a staff member, so let's go ahead and add that charge. First and foremost, the sheriff's office says passing items to inmates through this pass-through door is standard practice. Again, it's just a little tray slot. And again, when first designed, I'm sure nobody ever thought that a prisoner's entire body could potentially be fitting through that pass-through door. Until later that evening, while serving meals, the same jailer who just previously got assaulted by this guy is seen on video peeking through the cell window to see where Karazins is located in the cell. The video shows him lying on his bunk. He is now naked. As the jailer opens the pass-through to hand in the food tray, Karazins runs from his bunk and is able to get his head and shoulders through the pass-through. This seems like something right out of a horror film, possibly like that movie The Ring, to see some contorted human body come crawling through something where no human body is supposed to be able to fit through. They also made mention of the fact that this man was naked. I'm sure that he was stripped of everything when he assaulted this staff member. And it also sounds like he was in a 24-hour surveillance cell, given the fact that they've got a camera in the cell showcasing this guy is naked on the bunk, according to the surveillance footage. Mentioning these things, and also given the fact that this guy was sitting in jail for some very minor offenses, leaving the scene of an accident and several criminal mischief charges, Buddy could have been dealing with some sort of a mental episode, or he was just batshit crazy. But to hear about this guy getting his head and shoulders through this tray slot, I'm guessing that's all that you need to get through that tray slot, and then the rest of your body is no problem from there. Could you imagine the absolute terror on this woman's face, this female jail staff member, seeing a naked prisoner come crawling through the bean slot? The jailer called for help, but authorities say that before law enforcement could reach the cell, Karazins was able to crawl through the 14-inch wide by 8-inch high pass-through door. Karazins is seen chasing the jailer down the steps to the exit to the booking area, stated the sheriff's office. This is a very descriptive story, and I'm appreciative for these details, but man, I bet you that surveillance footage has got to be something to see. As the jailer gets to the door, 2 deputies are already opening it. The jailer runs past the deputies as Karazins reportedly charged them. The deputies were able to subdue Karazins after an altercation. Karazins was taken to a local hospital for evaluation, where deputies stayed the night to watch him. The morning after the incident, Woodbury County officials agreed to hold Karazins in their jail, probably having a more secure facility to be able to do so. As of Tuesday, June the 10th, Karazins is still in the Woodbury County Jail. Jail staff followed protocol, and because of this, Karazins was not able to escape the building, just run butt-ball naked down the hallways, chasing a female correctional officer. This is absolutely horrifying to imagine. Fortunately, law enforcement officials were in the building at the time, which most likely prevented further injury to our jailer in the stairwell and prevented Karazins from leaving the building. Pretty wild. Butt ball naked, squeezing through a tray slot. Folks, that story just happened this past Wednesday. I want to share with you a news story taking place in Alabama. This story, I believe, is happening right this second. Another escape. This guy is on the run right this second, and more of just absolute insanity. Again, down in the state of Alabama, headline that reads, Alabama inmate missing from work release center in Mobile. Okay, we just talked about a story similar to that in Kansas where a guy escaped from work release. He was only serving 8 months. They referred to that guy as a dangerous fugitive. And I questioned, well, if he was so dangerous, why was he let out on work release? This story has to be something similar to that, right? Unfortunately, no. This story is a lot different. Mobile, Alabama, the Alabama Department of Corrections reports an inmate serving time for a robbery conviction was reported missing from a work release center in Mobile. Here in the state of Virginia, if you got a violent charge on your record or you're serving time for a violent charge, you're not making work release. Clearly, it's not the same down in Alabama, which makes me wonder, is work release even the same thing? Are we talking about a prisoner who is allowed to leave in the morning from the prison, go to work, clock in, clock out in the free world, and then has to report back to the prison in the evening time type of work release? Because if that's the case, this guy may in fact actually be a dangerous fugitive. Authorities are now on the lookout for escapee Shaquille, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, Kashawn Brown, 31 years old, who is 5'5" and weighs 120 pounds. This guy actually sounds like he could fit through that tray slot as well. Has black hair and brown eyes. He has a tattoo, including one on his left arm that reads Shaq and another on his right arm depicting a masked man. Probably got his resume tattooed right there on his right arm. See that? Ski mask. That's what I'm known for, being a masked assailant. Let's go ahead and get to the craziest in relation to what little information has been reported about this particular escape. Brown, who is serving a 20-year sentence for first-degree robbery, was not present for 6 p.m. Monday count and a bed roster. The Alabama Department of Corrections says, yeah, I wouldn't be neither if I was serving virtually a life sentence, 20 years. By definition, that's the minimal amount of time that needs to be served for a life sentence. I'd escape too. Who thought it was a good idea to put this guy on work release? Folks, in this particular case, the reward was absolutely worth the risk. Buddy's already serving 2 decades in prison. What is another 5 years? I'll be following this story closely to bring you any updates in relation to this. I'll really be curious to see how long this particular guy stays out on the run for. Let's go ahead and start a little parlay right here. What are your guesses in terms of how long this guy's going to make it for? At the time of filming this, Derek Groves and Antoine Massey are about to reach 4 weeks at large. Maybe this guy stands a chance of having a long run himself as well. Folks, that's all that I got, and I hope that you found some interest in these 2 stories that I wanted to bring to you. If you did, please leave a like and a comment letting me know exactly what you think. If you find yourself here on After Prison Show enjoying this content but not yet subscribed, please consider doing so and turning on bell notifications so that you never miss an upload from us. It would greatly be appreciated and would go a long ways to helping to support this channel. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world. Never take a moment for granted and make the most of every day. Peace.